So today is Monday, May 6th. This is one day after what I believe is the end of the Drake and Kendrick battle back and forth. I think after yesterday, after Drake's last record last night, I don't think Kendrick is going to respond. So that's why I'm dating this video just in case he dropped another record and it's like. But I want to give my take on who I think won, my take on the overall battle, how I enjoyed it. Really, the fans was the real winner. You know, we got some records from Kendrick and Drake. We got like 5 records apiece from Kendrick and Drake. Without even just out the blue for real. So the fans was the real winner. But between them two, I want to give my take on who I think won personally and how I think the battle went. But before I do, please hit that like button, that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel for the boy. Share the video. Leave a comment on what you think, who you think won. Give your take on it too. Leave a comment below. But getting right into it, man, I would say that starting off, Kendrick kicked this off with the Like That record, I personally believe, right? So Kendrick was responding to First Person Shooter, but I think the Like That record going as big as it did, going to #1 on Billboard for 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. That record with Kendrick sending shots at Drake couldn't ignore that, man. He had to finally step outside. So even though Like That was in response to First Person Shooter, I think the Like That record is what really kicked all of this off. And it got Drake to come outside. Like, you can't ignore this record. It's too big of a song. Everybody rocking with it. And Kendrick shooting shots, you know what I'm saying, at Drake and Cole, for real. So that is what got Drake to come outside and play. So Drake finally responds with Push-Ups. Push-Ups was hard. That was a hard record, bro. That was a hard record. It was a solid response. I think Drake didn't want to jump all the way out the window. He just wanted to show that he was ready to battle and that he wasn't scared of the boogeyman. So he dropped Push-Ups, hard beat. Flows was crazy. I didn't like the angle. I didn't like the angles of the short jokes and the shoe size jokes. I wasn't really a fan of that angle. That was just kind of corny to me. But outside of that, some of the shots he sent at Dot was hard. He was flowing. And then he addressed a lot of the other people who've been sending shots at him on Future's album, We Don't Trust You, and We Still Don't Trust You. So he addressed a lot of that. I personally would have preferred Push-Ups to been directed more at Kendrick and not a lot of all the other cats. Like Ross didn't deserve to get no bars on Push-Ups. He ain't deserve to get no bars on that. Ross didn't even really say anything about him on the We Don't Trust You album, so I don't know why Drake felt the need to send shots his way. I don't think ASAP really needed no bars either. Maybe Weeknd and Kendrick probably the only 2 people I think Drake should have sent some bars at on Push-Ups. But nonetheless, it was a hard record, And then after that, a week later, if a whole week, I think about a week later, Drake drops again. He dropped the AI record with Tupac and Snoop. To me, personally, that record was funny, man. It was a funny record. It was kind of clever. It was different. I wasn't upset at that record. He dropped that. Kendrick still hadn't responded yet. I'm like, yo, Drake is really going at this dude right now. He really trying to get Kendrick to come outside. He's talking crazy. He said he wrote the first song in a couple hours, and now he back like, Kendrick, you ain't about to just weasel your way out of this situation. You done called me out. I'm outside. Come respond. So I personally wasn't mad at the AI record. I can't think of the name of it right now, but the AI record with Tupac and Snoop and Drake. I wasn't mad at that. I thought it was kind of clever to play on the whole AI thing because they thought his first record was AI. And then it was something that we hadn't seen before from a artist of his caliber. All the AI records we kind of see just floating around on the internet are being created by whoever. But to see an artist of Drake's caliber actually use it, I thought that was kind of dope. I thought that was clever. I do wish, my critique on that record, I wish he would have rapped Tupac's verse like how Tupac would have rapped it. It sounded like Tupac rapping like Drake. That's what it sounded like. So I wish he would have put a little bit more effort into the Tupac part and really took on the whole character. And then same with Snoop, you know. I wish he would have rapped like Snoop a little more just to fully sell it. It just sounded like Tupac's voice rapping a Drake verse or Snoop's voice rapping a Drake verse. But all in all, I wasn't mad at those two records. So at this point, I got Drake like up. I'm like, Kendrick ain't gonna respond. You got all these other people, Kanye jumping in, Rick Ross jumping in. You got all these people making these little side songs and stuff, kind of distracting from the battle that we want to see. We all want to see Drake versus Kendrick. That's what we want to see. And we got all these side battles going on. So in my mind, I'm like, Kendrick not responding, bro. Like, it's over. So I had Drake up. And I'm like, if Kendrick don't respond, Drake wins by default, this battle is over. Fast forward a week or so, however long it took Kendrick to respond. It took him a couple weeks or something like that. Kendrick finally drops on a Tuesday afternoon, on a Tuesday morning, depending on what part of the country you was in. Kendrick drops Euphoria. And man, oh man. Like, my first reaction when I heard Euphoria, I couldn't even make it through the entire song because it was just like, we really getting this right now. We're really getting Kendrick versus Drake in a battle. Like, they're actually doing this. This ain't a joke. This ain't a drill. They're actually doing it. So when Kendrick responds, I'm like, yo, we really here, bro. Play Euphoria probably like 5 times straight. After I finally made it through the first list, I probably played like 5 times straight. And I would catch something new every time, right? So his flow on that record, the 3 beat changes, the introduction, the way it came on, super chill, and him talking, and he didn't waste one line. He didn't waste one line on Like That. He didn't waste one line on Euphoria. Every line, every bar meant something. It was like, I'm very calculated with what I'm saying. And then you get on Twitter and you see all these different breakdowns and all these different theories and all these different conspiracies, and it turned from a double entendre to a triple entendre to a quadruple entendre, like all these, and then the title of the song being titled Euphoria. Euphoria just felt like he really put a lot of time and effort into that song, right? That's what it felt like to me. In comparisons to Drake's, like Drake said himself, he wrote the song in a couple hours. Push-Ups was hard, and the AI joint with Snoop and Tupac was hard, but it did sound like he wrote them kind of quick. He did what Drake do. You know, I don't think it takes Drake a long time to come up with records, especially if you're getting help. Who knows? But Euphoria just sounded like Kendrick really took time and made that record. He was giving punchlines. He was giving flow. He was giving jokes. He was giving energy and aggression. Like, he was checking all the boxes on his record. So when that joint dropped, I'm like, okay, we in it. And if we about to compare what we got so far with Like That and Euphoria and Drake's 2 records, Euphoria, to me, it gave Kendrick the edge, to me personally. He just checked more boxes on that record. He had the bars, but he also had the flow. He had the aggression. He had the beats. He had the jokes. He just checked way more boxes. And it was all directed at Drake. It's like, I'm not including nobody else in this. All these shots is for you. So Euphoria, I kind of gave Kendrick the slight edge. Slight edge. About a week go by. Kendrick drops again. Now, he told Drake on Euphoria, headshots all year, you better walk around like Daft Punk with the helmet. He warned him, I'm all year. So a week later, he drops again, and it's like, yo, this time it was on, it wasn't even a week later, it was a few days later. This was on his Instagram page. He drops a video, and the artwork is a Maybach glove and a shirt, like laying on top of a shirt. And this was 616 in LA. And it's like, oh man, he done dropped again. So now he drops again. And he's saying on the second verse, first off, this 616 in LA, this beat was hard. Like, I really rocked with this beat. This was like some real like hip hop with a sample and just some dope drums. And he just kind of just snap on this joint. So Kendrick was spitting on 616 in LA. With that second verse, he got to saying like, yo, you got a mole in your crew. They bringing me information. And if you take this too far, I'm letting you know I'm pushing the button. This ain't even that. So we can keep it rap. We can keep it friendly sparring. But if you take it there, I'm telling you, I'm pushing the button. He warned him. He dropped it early that morning. The joint went crazy. And that night, Drake responds. I want to say it was the same night. Drake responds. So now we got a battle. They going back and forth now. So at that point, when he dropped 616 in LA, I had him at the slight edge with Euphoria, but now it's just like, yo, Drake, where are you at, bro? You told Kendrick he couldn't go back in the house. He had to come outside and play. You told him you was ready. You said all these things. You said you writing songs in 2 hours. All these things. You don't let this man drop another record and you still ain't responded to Euphoria? Drake, where are you at? That's what I'm thinking at that moment. So now I'm like, Kendrick he just stomping you at this point. You ain't gonna say nothing. You ain't gonna fight back. That night, Drake responds, bro. And he responds with, what's the name of that song? He responds with Family Matters. Drake responds with Family Matters. Now, when I first heard Family Matters, it came on with the song that he ended Push-Ups with. Drop. It come on with that same song, right? So now I'm listening to that song and fully, and I ain't gonna lie, when I first heard that song, I didn't really want that to be the response. I didn't want that beat and that vibe to be the response to what Kendrick had just did. It just didn't feel like it was enough, you know? It was kind of like a more bouncy club bop and a little less serious. I feel like Kendrick had just came with all this aggression and anger and saying, I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that you talk. I hate everything about you. And then he comes up with 616 in LA and he said, you got a mole in your crew and they telling me everything. But he was just very aggressive, like, are we really here? So when I heard Drake's response with the drop, I'm like, the beat and all this is cool, and this would be a cool song if it wasn't within this battle, but it just didn't. That first part, I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling that part at all. And then he says the line about Dave Free, like Dave Free might have smashed your wife, and he might be the father of your kids. I feel like that would have been like a real ball drop if it would have been more believable. To me personally, it just didn't. It just sounded like Drake was making stuff up. You know, Dave Free. It just sounded like he was making stuff up, and it's like, for all we know, you know, Kendrick and Dave Free could be cool and kicking it right now at this very moment. Like, I get what he was trying to do. He's trying to paint a narrative and create a narrative. He's trying to create an angle. It's a battle. You know what I'm saying? You can make things up in battles. I watch a lot of battle rap. People make stuff up all the time to try and get the crowd on their side. But just me personally, that didn't hit for real because I just felt like he was just making it up. It didn't sound true at all. The way he said it didn't sound believable. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge part of battling. You got to sell what you're saying as if it's true. It just didn't sound believable to me. But going into the next part of the song, second verse, he's flowing. Drake was snapping on that second verse. He was flowing. Like, that was probably some of the craziest flow patterns I've heard from Drake ever, for real. Like, he was snapping and every line was hard. But there were no shots aimed at Kendrick on that verse, for real. That second verse of Family Matters, I think he might have gave Kendrick like a half a bar. I think he said something like, your hottest stuff is when Baby Keem writes it or something like that. But all the other bars in that whole verse, as much as he was snapping and going crazy, it was no shots at Kendrick. So I'm thinking like, why you still shooting at Weeknd and Ross and like, bro, Kendrick is adding you, bro. He's talking to you directly. Leave all these other people out of this now, bro. Like, they don't matter. We want to see Drake versus Kendrick. That's what we want to see. We don't want to hear you talking about The Weeknd and Rick Ross. They don't matter. Fire back at Kendrick. So I had to take some points away from that verse because he said nothing to the man that's been, talking to him. But he was flowing. He was going crazy. Don't get me wrong. And then the last part of the verse, he got back to talking to Kendrick. I like that flow. I like that beat, the third part. I like the flow. I like the beat. And he shot a video for us. So this whole time I'm watching the video, he went to New Ho King, the spot in Toronto that Kendrick had shot it out. And Kendrick brought a lot of business to from Euphoria. And it was on the news because Kendrick had shot it out. That was kind of crazy to me. Like, Kendrick was getting a lot of love in Drake City. And that shouldn't have been going on during this battle. I didn't see Drake getting that same love in LA. It seemed like the whole LA was behind Kendrick. But yeah, that last verse on the Drake's joint, he was flowing and that beat was hard. Song goes off. I'm like, yo, I think I hopped on the phone. I hopped on the phone with my brother and my homie. So we on the phone talking about the record we just heard. And while we on the phone, Kendrick drops another record, bro. He drops Meet the Grams. I'm talking the record ain't been out. Drake's record ain't been out for no more than 10, 15 minutes. And I get a text that Kendrick has dropped again. I'm like, yo, I'm like, yo, Kendrick dropped again? We couldn't believe it. So when he dropped Meet the Grams, it like it took the air. It took the air. If you were up while this stuff was happening, like if you didn't go to sleep and then listen to all of this the next day, if you were up while it was happening, it was really crazy to see in real time. Drake dropped, internet going crazy, and then Kendrick drops right after. It just took the life out of Drake's record because we didn't even have enough time to really dissect it for real. Play it back several times, fall in love with it, because now it's like, oh, we got to see what Kendrick's saying to this record. If he respond, like, what is going? So that strategy, bro, was something I have never seen in a rap battle for real, like in this type of rap battle. Dropping that soon after your opponent just dropped and just snatching the buzz away from that record, that was cold to me. And then getting into Meet the Grams, this was Kendrick's disrespectful record. It's like he knew it was almost like what Kendrick was saying about somebody reporting to him and Drake having a mole in his camp. It was almost like it was true because to title it Meet the Grams, playing off of like the show and the family, how Drake had Family Matters, and to just be that prepared to drop it right after Drake dropped it just did seem like either, like he said, you're not that calculated and I know what you're going to do, or you actually do got somebody that's telling me what's going on in y'all camp. So Meet the Grams was the disrespectful record, right? Drake got disrespectful on Family Matters, and 10 minutes later, Kendrick dropping his disrespectful record. So now they battling, bro. They going at it. So he writes to Adonis. He writes to Drake's son, telling Adonis all about he gonna be his mentor and how you should move, growing, like talking to another man's son like that man ain't around. That was extremely disrespectful. Then he wrote to Drake's mama on the second verse and calling her by her first name. And then he wrote to Drake's dad and telling him, you did a terrible job and you raised a terrible person. Like, Meet the Grams was just so disrespectful, bro. It was like, and I feel like that's one of them records that would have hit Drake right here. Like, you don't want to hear nobody talking to your son and your mama like that, bro. Like, and then the beat was so dark and sinister, and it's like he just walking you down like Freddy Krueger or Jason or something. That was crazy, bro. Like, not even judging the record, but just strategically how he did that and took the life and the buzz away from Drake's red button. I feel like Family Matters was Drake's red button, and he just took the life right out of that, bro. So when he dropped Meet the Grams, at that moment, me personally, I'm like, Kendrick is really strategically playing a better game than Drake is in this battle. I just don't think Drake was prepared for this, bro. I think Drake probably got in that booth and was like, after I get Kendrick to come outside, I'm gonna drop this Family Matters and it's gonna be over. Or Kendrick gonna respond some days later because it takes him a while. And I know Drake wasn't prepared for him to respond 5 minutes later. So I just think Drake just was not prepared for the level that Kendrick was about to be on and for what Kendrick had calculated. It's like he was studying the art of war, bro. And then the things he was saying. So boom, Meet the Grams drop right after Family Matters. Family Matters, I would say, is a better overall record. But just in context and within this battle, how it happened, Meet the Grams dropping right after in that strategy and taking a buzz away from it, I gave Kendrick the edge again. Just off the strategy is like, this is insane. Boom, next day, Kendrick drops again. So at this point, we got 3 new Kendrick records within a span of almost 48 hours from the day before that morning, and then later that night, and now the next day, that evening, he drops Not Like Us. And oh my God. Not Like Us to me is my favorite record out of all of the records in this battle. When I first heard that joint, man, I was already in the car, so I played it. And the you know, the sample come on, and then the mustard tag came on, and that and the drums, and I'm like, yo, this joint is going hard. I turn it all the way up I'm like, yo, this joint is riding. And Kendrick get on that, and he get to walking. He got to walking on that beat, man. I'm like, this battle is over. Like, this battle over. The whole battle before that song, people, oh, you can't play this in the club, though. Ain't no chicks gonna want to hear this, though, right? It was like Kendrick had everything that people was gonna say. He had it all thought out and planned out. I know y'all gonna want a club record. I'm saving it for the kill shot. And on this record, he talking spicy. He calling Drake and his whole crew, oh my God, PDF files. If you know what I mean. He got Drake Mansion as the artwork with the little offenders on the map on top of his house. And he calling Drake freaky. 69 guy. It was, yo. And then they played it in the club immediately that same night. It was getting played from LA to New York the same night it dropped. It was a bop. So I just felt he was showing so much versatility. You wanted the club way, I got you. You wanted the lyrical way, I got you. You wanted disrespectful, I got you. Just every which way. From starting in the club with a #1 record, even though it's future record, we know Kendrick was the reason that it went as crazy as it did because of his verse and his shots of Drake. From there, and then wrapping it back up with that club record again to end it, it was just, to me, that was just masterful. Like, if I'm about to go up against Drake in a battle, I don't even know how I would have prepared to do that. But the way he calculated everything, of course, people gonna have who they got winning. You like who you like. Kendrick fans gonna ride with Kendrick. Drake fans gonna ride with Drake. I like both the artists. I like both of the artists' music. But to just watch Kendrick just orchestrate and execute his side of the plan, no tweets, no memes, no none of that, just song and song. It was really like what he's like. You need a Daft Punk helmet because I'm popping your head all summer. So boom, Not Like Us drop. And to me, I felt it was overkill. I felt the battle was done. I'm like, it ain't nothing Drake can do. It ain't nothing Drake can say to overcome a record of this magnitude. People, I'm looking at people crip walking in the streets in LA. It's like he had the whole West Coast just rocking with him off that joint. That was just, it was amazing to see. Next day, this battle was going on for what seems like forever. Next day, Drake drops again, and he drops. Then Drake drops again. He drops The Heart Part 6. It's a play on the Kendrick series of Kendrick got 5 records, The Heart Part 1 through 5, right? So Drake drops The Heart Part 6 because he from the 6. This would have been number 6 if Kendrick was to do it. Kendrick's last one was 5, so this would have been number 6. And all these other meanings that the internet done said was behind it. But that album or that song title, The Heart Part 6, was a viral tweet. Somebody tweeted that like Drake's response should be The Heart Part 6. He should do that. And the tweet kind of went crazy. So I feel like Drake seen that and was like, yeah, I'm actually do that. That's actually a good idea, because it was a good idea. It was a really good idea. Heart Part 6 drop, play it, immediately beat hard. Like, I'm like, this beat hard. I feel like Drake should have started in that pocket instead of push-ups, because I think Drake was so used to all the other cats Drake battle tested. He'd been doing this for a minute. So I think he was so used to the battles he's been in before, he approached it the same way. And I think he underestimated Kendrick. He approached it with club banger out the gate, up tempo, flowing, jokes, blah, 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 blah. He didn't realize Kendrick was really coming to kill this dude on record. So I think if he would have started with The Heart Part 6, if this would have been Drake tone out the gate, hard beat, just straight rapping, right? No gimmicks, no games, not sending shots at nobody else, just directed at Kendrick. I think the outcome might have looked different in my eyes if he would have started there and gradually built up to a club bop, kind of like how Kendrick did. But at that point, it just felt like it was too late. Now his energy is all the way down, right? Kendrick just dropped a West Coast banger the day before. The energy is way up. He's snapping. And then you come on and your energy is down. I just feel like Drake didn't match that energy from the day before, the record we heard, Not Like Us. But anyways, the song come on, beat hard, Drake rapping, right? He's spitting, doing what Drake do. I listen to it. I'm like, yo, this record was hard. This record was dope. I go back and I play it again, because now I usually just listen to a song to see if I like it first. And then I go back and I listen and actually pay attention to the lyrics. So I go back and I play it again. When I started listening to what he was saying, I'm like, he's just, like, the entire verse just sounded like all tweets from Twitter. It just sounded like everything that people were saying from Twitter, from start of that verse to the end. And then he said a few things. He said Kendrick should have fact checked. He said he sent a mole to Kendrick to give him fake info, and he should have fact checked. But then he also said the person that Kendrick got his info from was some clowns. So it was like, are you calling you and your people clowns? Or it contradicted itself there. He also said he mocked Kendrick's song Mother I Sober on his last album, about how, you know, his mom thought that he might have been fondled when he was a kid, and he told his mom, no, I never have, but his mom was fondled when she was younger, so she was just looking out and making sure her son was okay. So Kendrick said no. But Drake, on his record, after telling Kendrick to fact check, he says that Kendrick had been fondled as a kid from listening to that song. And it's like, did you listen to the song? You just said you should fact check. A lot of things in Drake's verse just didn't make sense. They contradicted itself, and then it just sounded like a bunch of tweets off Twitter. And he said he done. He's bowing out. He waving the white flag. He don't want to do this no more. So he basically, you know, he done. I don't think he went out on a high enough note to match the energy from the day before with that Not Like Us record. I just think this record just didn't give enough to give Drake the edge. And then a lot of the stuff he said was very questionable in that last song. So all in all, it was an amazing battle between two of the biggest artists, biggest rap artists in the game. I'm giving Kendrick the edge. Not even the edge. I'm giving Kendrick a clear win. I got Kendrick clearly winning this battle after everything that played out. Judging the music, the lyrics, the bars, the strategies, all of that. I'm giving Kendrick the clear edge. I think Kendrick was much more prepared. I think he caught Drake off guard. He baited him with the Like That record to see if he will respond because he knew he was prepared. And I just think Drake wasn't prepared. He got to scrambling once he was in it, you know. So I'm giving Kendrick the clear victory in this battle. All in all, the fans won, though. We got a lot of new music that we can take away from this. It did get turned into he say, she say, gossip, all that stuff. That wasn't cool. And people's opinions and all that stuff. That wasn't cool. But overall, we got a lot of new music. We got a lot of new music from Kendrick, who never comes outside to make music once every 5-6 years, something like that. Got a lot of music from him, so that was dope. So yeah, I got him winning. But leave some comments below, man. Let me know who you think won. Let me know who your winner was. Let me know if I missed anything. And hit that subscribe button for me, man. Hit the share button. Leave some comments and all of that good stuff. And I got more videos on the way, man. Peace.